Hello guys, my name's Theo Goff, host of the Conquering Dyslexia podcast. Now today I'm going to do an episode about is there more boys than girls are dyslexic? Is that true? And talk about the different science basically behind it, what they're saying, and why is there such a difference between the boys that get diagnosed with dyslexia and the girls that get diagnosed with dyslexia. I remember when I found this out, I was amazed, and it explained to me a big thing that was missing basically in my past. I hope you enjoy today's episode, guys. And yeah, enjoy the listen and hope we're having an amazing day.
So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe, where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be, or in other words, conquer their dyslexia? That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast.
Hello guys, I hope we're doing good. Now what's really strange to me, I'm going to say a little strange story that's really quite fascinating. Now we know the real research and the reason why things are like a certain way. So I remember when I was moved to my dyslexic school and only had 50 kids. Very, very small. But it was really strange to me when I moved there. There was 50 kids, and out of those 50 kids, I would say 5, 6 or 7 of them were girls. The rest of them, the rest 45, 44 of them were all boys. I remember being shocked by that fact at the start. Like, oh, there's a lot more boys than girls here. Oh, that's because dyslexia affects a lot more boys than girls. And it made so much sense to me at the time. I didn't question it for years and years and years. More boys than girls have dyslexia. That's how our brains are wired. That's how, that's just down to us. The girls may be smarter than boys. Boys, us brains just more, has dyslexia a lot more often and a lot more prevalent for us. And it was really interesting. When I was doing a lot more research about this, there's a couple books about dyslexia that explains this. And they're like, do more boys and girls have dyslexia? And the answer is no. And if I told myself, you mean like 10, 15 years ago that no, it's actually equal, I would not believe myself at all. I'd be like, then how the hell is there, 5 times more boys here than there's girls? Shouldn't it be almost even? And the answer, to be honest, is quite sad. And it's something that us as education system, us as diagnosing dyslexics, us as, observing people in the classroom, need to notice a lot more. And the fact that girls don't get diagnosed with dyslexia a lot more is because they are better coping strategists than boys. Girls are much more better at coping with their difficulties than boys. They're much more better at coming up with workarounds that other people don't notice. They're way much more better at basically what it is that boys get noticed a lot more about their dyslexia because when something's up, they get angry, they lash out, they become a class clown, they become a lot more coping strategies that make them out more, make them sort of like express themselves more. I remember when I was a kid, I used to be the class clown and a bit of the class bully. I did. Looking back, I'm not proud of it, anything like that. But I had all these different things. I was seeing the head teacher multiple times a week from doing silly things. I didn't want to be in the classroom. I didn't want to be picked on. I didn't want to be the person to read. So I'd always make fun. And I know, I remember trying reading and make fun of it, of actually reading a word and being silly and playing games, so that getting the other kids to laugh, and me acting like I can't do it is like me acting like being silly is just an disguise, because I didn't want people to see I can't do it. But all these disguises, all these coping strategies, basically made me more noticeable, made me more apparent. And with that more notice, with that more attention from the teachers, they took down the process of, okay, let's find out why he's like this. There's something up with him, because it takes up more of the teacher's time, more of the teacher's attention, because of being class clown, being the bully, being the difficult kid, all these different things. But yet, typically, this is a typical reaction when girls find things difficult, when girls can find things hard. They're the quiet. They don't ask for help nearly as much. They're the ones in the back of the classroom that are quiet, that just do that literally work their heart off, work their socks off, I mean, and they do all the coping strategies they can, and a lot of time they just get by. They just get by, and every time they go to parents, even the teacher says, "Oh, she's an amazing girl. She's so quiet, so diligent, just always gets on with the work." But the fact is, she's trying her heart out, and she's working so hard. The teacher just doesn't notice it as much. The teacher doesn't notice it, and therefore it gets slipped through the net so much more often. And the fact is, when you come into when the study's done, when you come into college and later education, when they started doing tests for dyslexia, a lot more girls turn out to be dyslexic than they are boys, because all the boys got found out when they're early if they're dyslexic or ADHD or all these other things, because it's a lot more noticeable. But with girls, it's not as noticeable. Therefore, there's a lot more proportionally, there's a lot more girls who have got dyslexia who aren't diagnosed, compared to boys who have got dyslexia that aren't diagnosed when you're in later on education. And this is amazing. This is amazing to think about, and really realizing this, it makes me realize the effects that our behavior has in the classroom, and how us as educators need to realize, look, it's a 50-50. People show different systems, and how you really need to test everyone, how you really need to test everyone, see everyone's cognitive profile, see them individually when they're alone, saying a lot of time one-on-one with someone, so you can find them out. Because if that girl knew she was dyslexic, she would be flying. She would do amazing with that. Having that little bit of attention, little bit of time, would have saved so much struggle, so much pain, so much confusion. And don't get me wrong, they're dealing with pain, they're dealing with confusion much as everyone else. But the only reason why we think they're not, because boys express it way much more than girls do. And this is through the studies. This isn't through the opinion. And so it's really interesting to think about that when we look back. And also, I would say, if you are a girl out there and thinking, okay, I've struggled with these or I've struggled with that, but it's not dyslexia, don't worry about it, it's something else. I don't have time to worry about this, and really focus on doing other things, or maybe not really valuing yourself enough. I would say go out there, spend time learning about yourself, learning if you are dyslexic or not, and really investigating that, because chances are, if you listen to this, chances are if your kid has it, chances are if you relate to a lot of the dyslexia traits out there, is that you are dyslexic. It's 50-50, about 50% boys, 50% girls, or very, very close to that range, but a lot more boys have more ADHD tendencies than girls. And dyslexia and ADHD are very, very closely linked, but not as closely linked with girls, because girls aren't as hyperactive as boys typically. So when you look at these differences, it's quite interesting and quite fascinating. So what you're going to do with this? What you're going to do with this is that I would say that knowing that there needs to be a direction shift, because I can still go back to my school now, and there'll be more, to be honest, there'll be more girls. There'll be 10 girls, and there's a lot more bigger school. There'll be 10, 15 girls, and about, 50 boys. So the differences have changed a lot more. But I think that we've got to be aware that people can deal with it differently. People can deal with their dyslexia differently and have the different show different shines differently. And we've got to look for it for, okay, this is how girls deal with it differently, typically, especially early on, than boys. And I think it's a lot of time you should spend on girls early on to dealing with that. Anyway, guys, I hope we enjoy this little message. I know it was really interesting for me to learn about this stuff, and I hope it taught you just about the myth that there's more boys than girls are dyslexic. That's completely not true. There's so many more myths about dyslexia that we can talk about here. But I hope we learned that today and we take that in. And we can go on with our lives and enjoy today. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode and have an amazing day. See you all later. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Now, I got something really exciting I want to share with you. Over the last 5 years, I've been absolutely obsessed with learning everything I can about dyslexia and how they can overcome their challenges and maximize their strengths. And I've been spending many hours on many days scouring the internet to find solutions to the problems. And I found many solutions. So over quarantine, I was thinking, what if I scour the internet again? What if I go through every last resource that I've been through before and take everything that's useful and put it into one place? And that's how I filled up a lot of my time in quarantine. I scoured the internet and found all the most inspirational, all the most informational, all the most useful videos about dyslexia out there and put them all into one place, so you don't have to waste time scouring the internet to find solutions to your problems, so you know there's only one place to go. And this thing I created is called the Dyslexia Black Book. You can get it at conqueringdyslexia.net/Black Book. Now, I'm wanting to offer this to you and present this to you completely for free because I want to save you time. I want to save you time, so scouring the internet and not finding the answers like I've done. If you go to conqueringdyslexia.net/Black Book, Conquering Dyslexia Black Book, you'll find it. Or guys, you can just click the link in this episode description to find it. But yeah, guys, that's the special message I wanted to share with you today.